Hello YouTube, this is Rapscallion. Small update to the multi-item sorter V4. Really just an update for lag efficiencies. When we designed the V4 version, we used a lot more redstone dust and comparator cutoffs. And with comparator cutoffs and high signal strengths, you're running through a bunch of different block light updates, which has a big effect on the lag on your system and especially on a server if you're running a server. So I switched it over to actually use comparators in subtract mode, and this should have a big improvement on the effectiveness of this system when it comes to lag, and we're pretty much within the same footprint of the original design, and it's all based on the same concepts. So I'll show you this updated version. I call it V4.1 because there's really not much change in its design overall, other than changing the comparator cutoffs to comparator subtracts. So let's take a look and see what this looks like, and I'll show it to you in operation. And then sometime following this, MetaMilo will have another tutorial that'll show you how to build this version 4.1. Okay, so here's our original 4.1 slice A and slice B. And this is what I had in the world download originally. You'll see that this is just running on comparator cutoffs. We're using a higher signal strength in these hoppers, so we're 64, 48, and 2, same as in this one here. We're using signal strength 1 up top and signal strength 5 here. Same signal strengths in the adjacent system. So this was the original V4. It's going to cause some lag if you're running this regularly in your world. This is the updated version. So we're one block longer and we're the same height. Really, it's the same materials being used and just a little bit more redstone dust overall, but now you'll see that both of these comparators are running on subtract, and that's the same for both of these slices. We're on subtract there, and it's behind this barrel, but you'll see that we're on subtract here as well. Again, signal strength between the two slices is the same in each of these containers. So it's always going to be signal strength 6 coming out of these barrels and signal strength 4 coming out of these barrels. You'll see it's the same all the way along. And I switched over to barrels instead of the furnaces because when we're talking about lag effectiveness, furnaces tick apparently, which adds to the amount of lag that a system like this is going to generate. So barrels seem to be a little bit more favorable when it comes to lag. However, if you're looking for compatibility, then furnaces are typically your best bet. Anyways, these are compatible and tileable, so it's always A, B, A, B, A, B. If you have a break between them, so you're going around a corner, you could go A, a bunch of hoppers, and then A again. It won't really matter. And same as before, this is silent. This is hopper speed. It's just one block longer. So I've put it over here into the testing area. I redid my loading system, so you'll see I just have one input now. You can put your shulker boxes in here, or you can put your loose items. If you put a shulker box in, it's going to empty the shulker box, and it's going to feed it through the system. I'd also changed over to the item gate or item defragmenter, as we've been calling it, with the smaller version that MetaMilo has been using and that he showcased in his video. The unloader here, it was built by Samus the Sage, handles empty boxes, everything just goes back into the system and up into the defrag. The only noise that this entire system is going to make is this one piston right here. Sorry, two pistons, the one pushing the redstone block in and the one that's breaking the shulker box when it's done. But yeah, everything will filter in. I have a small shulker filter here. So if it is a shulker box, it'll go into the unloader. Otherwise, the loose items will travel through this shulker box and just down straight into the system. You could improve on this shulker box filter here. This is going to flash a bunch of redstone as you're putting items in. I did design a small shulker box filter here that doesn't flash any redstone. There's one dust required, but if it's in operation, it's not actually going to it's not going to flash, and it's completely silent. but I just didn't use it for whatever reason. I just kept this one here for purposes of showcasing this. And here we see all of the slices together, A slice and B slice. You'll see that the signal maintainer is only on the A, and you'll see that I go from A here to A here. Composters on top of the open hoppers to also help reduce on lag. I think I fit those in wherever I could. And yeah, that really should be it. So let's take our shulker box and load it into the system. I've got the same sorting categories as I've always had through all of these, and you'll see that all of the chests are empty, save for the terracotta, because we want to see things go into overflow. So again, we have separate chests for unsorted items and a separate chest for overflow. I think Milo brings his overflow back to the beginning, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. You can point it this way and have it end up here too. So here's our shulker box of loose items. Let's go ahead and throw that in here. And away we go. So you heard the shulker box already load up here, so it went through the filter and it's going in. We could even take some extra loose items and toss those in. Let's do my yellow concrete that I work with very often. If I just put that in, everything is going to come up in through this dropper elevator and through defrag. You'll see your indicator lights are working. So right now we're probably matching here. Yep, that's my concrete that I just put in. There's enough buffer space in this chest below here that we shouldn't run into any issues with things loading or unloading at all. Yep, you can see things coming in. So all those items are probably just held into this chest right now as it's sucking things out. So there's a lot of buffer space. So let's wait through this thing and see how well it goes. I'm going to fast forward the video quickly just so it gets to the end. It shouldn't take very long because it is hopper speed. And there, we seem to be finished. So let's go take a look at all our chests. There's all our woolen carpet, concrete, including the 64 loose items that I threw in. Everything else ends up where it's supposed to be categorized. Terracotta's full. These are our unsorted items, including our non-stackables come through here. And here is our overflow items. And that's all there is to it. So this is version 4.1 of the multi-item sorter. And again, you can see the progress along the way. This time back here, just as a side note, we made an attempt to see if we could shrink down this same subtraction version. And while this technically works, the comparator on subtract can't take updates from the comparator that's facing into it rapidly. So in these versions here, if I put through a bunch of mismatches, so in this case, let's put through, actually I think I have some concrete in here already. If we put yellow concrete in here, you'll see that it's actually flashing and recognizing that there's a different item going in every time. So this comparator is taking updates each time, and there it's done. But if you're facing them directly into each other, it doesn't actually recognize the updates. So I could put 32 yellow concrete in here, and you'll see the break here, but they're all going to end up in the match chest below because it doesn't actually change the signal strength to this, and it'll never cut this off. So these observers never trigger, and it just thinks everything's a match. You'll see only 31 went down here. The first one actually does trigger. It's just when it keeps pumping items through. So you'll see the first mismatch, should have came all the way through here, but I actually have yellow concrete as a match item, so it'll come into here, and I would have had an item in there already. I'm doing redstone torch, and yellow concrete. So if I put an observer in, that should actually go all the way through to the end. Yes, there's the observer. So there's a couple things with this design that make it not work. You need to be able to update these comparators. if you were to build a system in here that gave it an update one tick afterwards, the comparator would update. But you need to add a bunch more to get this to make those updates. You also need to fit in the signal maintainer so that you're not going to tick on non-stackables, just like that's happening right now. Most importantly, though, you'd need to find a way to get this comparator to update. So I just left this here if anyone was interested in tinkering with it to see if they could come up with a design that worked within the same footprint of the original 7x7 design. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so this is one block shorter. It's the same footprint as version 4, but it doesn't really work, unfortunately. At least not at hopper speed. It would work if you slowed the items down a little bit, but that's not what we're going for here. Anyway, that is it for today, YouTube. I think last time I mentioned a super smelter design that I was working on. I do have a showcase video coming up for it. I'm really happy with the super smelter design, but we're still ironing out some kinks with the shulker loader at the end. Because it's such a high volume system, you need a pretty fast shulker loader. A lot of the 8-speed loaders need some sort of buffer in between. There's a 6-speed shulker loader, but we can't get it to evenly distribute properly to the inputs. I have a 4-speed loader connected to it right now, and it's a little bit too slow. So just trying to figure out a better collection system and shulker loader at the end of that smelter, and I will have that showcase video out for you soon. That one will be a bit special too, because we're actually going to showcase the design from the Khaos Tech server, which is one of the SMPs, technical SMPs that I play on. Anyway, that is it for today. Thanks again, YouTube, and have a great day.